Everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of my fantasy football tournament series number 100, the Subscriber World Cup. If you haven't seen part 1 from the other day, I strongly suggest you go check that out to give this video greater context. In continuation from that, this is the second round, the second group phases that features the 36 surviving teams from round 1. And the format of this second group phase is the teams have been separated into 9 groups of 4, the 9 seeded teams being the 9 teams with the best record from the previous round. And the rules for this round are that all group winners will advance to a straight knockout round bracket, round of 16, and the best 7 runners-up will join them as well. So that means the 2 worst runners-up here will not make the cut. This round is a little bit more unforgiving than the previous one. And then from there, I had this whole thing on a Microsoft Word sheet where I figured out the seedings for the round of 16 onward based on the results of this group stages. Basically, the 8 best group winners will be seeded for the round of 16, and the worst group winner from this round will join the 7 best runners-up as the other 8 unseeded teams for the round of 16. And then from the round of 16 onwards, it's just a straight knockout bracket where, kind of like a regular World Cup or So, let's jump through the groups. As you can see here in Group A, we have England, Iran, Peru, and Serbia. In Group B, we have Belgium, Turkey, Syria, and Venezuela. Group C is Argentina, the USA, Wales, and Senegal. Group D is the Ukraine, France, Algeria, and Iceland. Group E is Brazil, Russia, Qatar, and Greece. Group F is Poland, Morocco, Slovakia, and Italy. Then in Group G, we have Colombia, Mexico, Sweden, and Nigeria. Group H is the Netherlands, Australia, Tunisia, and Denmark. And Group I believe, is Uruguay, South Africa, the Republic of Ireland, and Croatia. So just like in the last vid, I'm not going to go through individual score lines for every single game in the groups. I'm just going to tell you what the standings are that I have written down here, or typed down, rather. And then I'll give score lines for the knockout stages onward from the round of 16 to the final. So let me just take a seat here. Right, in Group A, with England, Iran, Peru, and Serbia, I have England cleaning house and topping with 9 points. It's tough for second between the South Americans and the Eastern Europeans, but I've given the edge to Peru, just barely. I think they'll come in second with 4 points. I've got Serbia coming in third. I think with 2 points. I've got Iran coming in last with 1 point. I do think they'll get something from this group. So England advanced to the round of 16. Serbia and Iran would be out. Peru has to wait their fate to see if they finish as one of the best runners-up. In Group B with Belgium, Turkey, Syria, and Venezuela, I've got Belgium topping with 9 points. I kind of went back and forth between Turkey and Venezuela for second. I liked how Turkey performed in Euro 2020 qualifying, where they went undefeated twice against France. But I also liked Venezuela. In the last Copa America, they got a famous result over the host nation, Brazil. And I rate La Vinotinto very highly. So I believe I went with Venezuela to come in second here. I gave the South Americans a slight edge. They finished on 4 points as well. Turkey I had coming in third with, I believe, 3 points, and Syria I had in last with 1. So Turkey and Syria are out. Belgium goes through. Still have to see if Venezuela will. We still have to see if Venezuela will join them or not. We have Argentina, USA, Wales, and Senegal. Now remember, the USA is the host nation of this tournament. As they were in Part 1, all games here are being held in the US. But like I said, a separate draw was held for this round, and USA were sorted into Group C. It's the end of the road here for the U.S. Argentina tops the group. I think I have them. Let me see my sheet here. I have Argentina topping with 7. Oh, my camera just glitched. I have Argentina topping, with 7 points. I have Senegal in second with 6 points. I have Wales coming in third, I believe, with 2 points. The U.S. in last with 1 point. So Wales and the U.S. are out. Argentina goes through. Senegal with 6 points in a healthy position to advance, but they need to wait a bit more. Ukraine, France, Algeria, and Iceland. I have France topping this group with 7 points. I believe, at least. Okay, yeah, France with 7. I have the Ukraine with 5. Got Algeria with 4 and Iceland with 0. So Algeria and Iceland are out. France advance. Ukraine remains to be seen. Brazil, Russia, Qatar, and Greece. I'm gone with Brazil to top this group with 9 points. We've got Russia coming in second with 6. Qatar in third with 3. And yeah, I have Greece finishing with 0 points. I think that Greece, they haven't looked so hot since the 2014 World Cup. They haven't made it back to a major tournament since. Um, so it finishes in that exact order with Brazil and Russia on top. The next group has potential to be a little bit of a curveball. I have Italy topping the group with 6 points. And the reason I say 6 is because I think they will lose a game here. Poland coming in second also with 6 points. Got Morocco coming in third with 4 points. Slovakia coming in last with 3 points. So think of Group D of the 2010 World Cup, where everyone dropped some points. I think this could be a very sneaky group of death. 6, 6, 4, 3. Italy topping ahead on goal differential over Poland. Morocco and Slovakia, despite both winning a game, they're out. Italy, Poland go through. Now, this could really be the group of death with Colombia, Mexico, Sweden, and Nigeria. I really do have to say. And just like the last group, I have it finishing in this exact order with Colombia on 7 points. Mexico, I think I have them on 5. Sweden, I have them on either 2 or 3. I think I have them on 2 points. And Nigeria, I have on 1 point. So 7-5-2-1. It's a lot closer than it sounds. So Colombia and Mexico. Colombia goes through. The Netherlands, Australia, Tunisia, and Denmark. Holland topped this group with 9 points from 3 wins. I have Denmark scraping in second. I think them and the Aussies battled to yet another stalemate. They faced each other in the 2018 World Cup in Russia. That game ended in a 1-1 draw, I think. But I have Australia coming in third here with 2 points. And I have Tunisia coming in last with 1 point. So Australia and Tunisia are out. And the last group with Uruguay, South Africa, the Republic, and Croatia. I believe I have Uruguay on 7 points, Croatia on 5, Ireland on 2, I think, and South Africa on 1. Let me just check that. Yeah, that's right. So the Republic and South Africa are out. Uruguay, Croatia go through. So The 9 group winners you see here advance to the round of 16. And the 7 best runners-up, well, according to the math that I've done here, taking into account points and goal differential, the 7 best runners-up are from groups C through I. It's actually, coincidentally, the runners-up from groups A and B, Peru and Venezuela, who don't have enough to come through. I think Denmark wins out over both of these on goal differential. So let's move on to the next round. What I did was the 8 best group winners were seeded. The one team that was not seeded because they were the worst group winner, it is Italy, because they lost a game in their group, so they're on 6 points. So Italy will face another group winner in the next round. So let me just pause the video for a moment. All right. So the round of 16 of the Subscriber World Cup. The Netherlands versus Russia, Colombia versus Italy, Belgium versus Croatia, France versus Senegal, England versus Denmark, Argentina versus the Ukraine, Uruguay versus Poland, and Brazil versus Mexico. So the Netherlands versus Russia. I think Russia did very well to get to this point, the last 16 of a 72-team tournament. But the Dutch are through to the next round, 3-1. That's my scoreline prediction. Colombia versus Italy has the makings to be one of the best ties of this round. I think it's a coin toss, personally. But I'll go with a 2-1 win for Italy in extra time over Los Cafeteros. Belgium versus Croatia. 2 World Cup semifinalists in 2 years ago. Seeing a lot of goals here, but I think that Croatia's side is aging, and Belgium will win modestly. I say 4-2 for the Red Devils. France versus Senegal. Ooh, shades of 2002. Remember? But France wins this time. There will be no upset here. France defeats the Teranga Lions 3-1. On the other side of the bracket, England versus Denmark. Denmark are a plucky, stubborn side, but England will break them down eventually. 2-0. I think it'll be a clean sheet, 2-0. Now, hear me out. I think the Ukraine is good enough to beat Argentina. If you look at their trajectory in the last couple of years, promotion to League A, the Nations League, qualified for Euro 2020, defeating the reigning European champions Portugal in the process, being seeded in pot 1 for the draw. They're very much so a team that's on the up. I think they are the dark horse for Euro 2020 that can go on a deep run. Andriy Shevchenko as manager has this team well drilled. They also have a lot of promising players coming up through the under-20s who won the under-20 World Cup last year. This is the best generation of Ukrainian players since 2006, the last time that they qualified for a World Cup. I'm very much so feeling the Ukraine hype lately. I'm going to say 1-0. Argentina, they've struggled with lesser opponents before, and when I say lesser opponents, I don't mean just lesser than them, but lesser than the Ukraine. So I think the Ukraine are more than capable of getting a result here. And I'm going to go with a narrow 1-0 victory for Ukraine, the goal coming through Andriy Yarmolenko in the second half. It's not me hating on Argentina. I just think that of all the powerhouse teams in the world, who's the most susceptible to teams that are in that second tier of international football? Who's more susceptible to dropping points or losing? It's Argentina. I think the last World Cup showed that that evidence laid bare for us. They struggled with Iceland, as we know. They struggled with Nigeria. They barely put Nigeria away. And they were hammered by Croatia. So Uruguay versus Poland. This could go either way. It's a tough one. I think this will go to extra time. And I give it a 2-1 win for Uruguay here with a brace by Edinson Cavani, but Poland could come through that just as easily. Brazil versus Mexico. Brazil will win this. I'll just say up front. Brazil will win this, but I think it'll be by a very modest scoreline. A very, I mean, it's going to be 1-0. The reason I say only 1-0, Mexico being a high flair, high octane side, historically they tend to match up well with Brazil. I think they've beaten Brazil 5 times since the year 2000. For some reason, while not a boogie team, they just match up well with the Brazilians. But as we saw in the last World Cup where Brazil got through them, coincidentally at the same stage, I think that was 2-0. I think they get past Mexico here. So just a 1-0 win, though, for Brazil, I think. So the quarterfinals, we have the Netherlands versus Italy, Belgium versus France, England versus Ukraine, Uruguay versus Brazil. For the Dutch, I'm going with a 2-1 victory over the Italians. These are two sides that have been revamped in recent months. They missed out on the last World Cup, but they're still in that process of getting back on their toes. I think so far, who's made the more compelling case for doing that? It's the Netherlands. But 2-1 over the Azzurri. Belgium versus France, a rematch of the 2018 World Cup semifinals. I think Belgium makes a huge statement here with a victory over the reigning world champions. 3-1. I think they get off to a flying start with an early 2-0 lead over France. I think they stun them. France pulls one back. Belgium puts the nail in the coffin late on with a third strike. England versus the Ukraine. It's the end of the road here for the Ukraine. I think they do put in a valiant effort here, and England wins this match by a scoreline of only 1-0. Uruguay versus Brazil. Classic matchup. Brazil wins this, and I think it's a scoreline of 2-1. I do think Uruguay will get on the score sheet. Let's say they get off a set piece, a corner from a header from Godin. Moving on to the semis then. We have the Netherlands versus Belgium and England versus Brazil. This was the final, Netherlands versus Belgium in fantasy football tournament number 99, the European Union Cup. I think I had Belgium prevailing there. This is another meeting between these two neighboring countries, the lowlands. This time, however, I'm going to give it to the Netherlands to come through this. And I think it has the makings to be a very thrilling game. I'm going to go with 3-2 for the Netherlands here over Belgium. Belgium to the third place game. I think Belgium won the EU Cup, if I'm not mistaken. England versus Brazil. The last time these two teams faced each other, well, the last few times they met each other, I think England's given Brazil a lot of trouble. I'm going to have to say Brazil will come through this, but I think England right now could very well win this whole tournament. But I think Brazil has the better midfield. So I'm going to go with Brazil. And just for fun, I'm say screw it. Same score line as the Netherlands-Belgium game. 3-2 for Brazil. So the third placed game is between Belgium and England. I think this was the third place game in the last World Cup, coincidentally. Does England get revenge here on Belgium? No. I think Belgium still are the better side. They win this match 2-1. So in the Subscriber World Cup, we're finally getting to the standings here. England come in fourth. Belgium comes in third. And let's go to our final. And the final of the Subscriber World Cup is the Netherlands versus Brazil. In major tournaments, I think since 1998, they've met each other 3 times. Brazil were victorious on penalties in the semis of 98, and then they actually lost to the Dutch in both the 2010 and 2014 World Cups. However, this Dutch side is not like those two sides. It's kind of funny because the 2014 Netherlands national team wasn't that special. It was resoundingly considered to be a patchwork job by Louis van Gaal that year. It was considered a surprise they made it to the semis. Um, so I actually rate this Netherlands team better than the 2014 bronze medal finishers. But I think right now Brazil are just possibly a little bit too strong. But I mean, this is hard. This is really difficult. Um, I still want to see more from the Dutch. I do think the revival is very real under Ronald Koeman, who, by the way, as of now, is no longer the manager. He's leaving to become Barca coach. So I'm interested to see who will take over the reins for the Dutch national team now. But I think in a major final, I think Brazil just has more discipline. They have more pedigree at this stage. So I'm going to give it to Brazil. I think Brazil wins the Subscriber World Cup. Oh, scoreline. Um, I think Brazil keeps a clean sheet. I think they beat the Netherlands 2 goals to nil. So Brazil wins the Subscriber World Cup. The Netherlands come in second. Belgium comes in third. England comes in fourth. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. Hopefully I see you guys soon, God willing. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, have a good one. Peace.